Third aspect of assessment for learning, group work, peer assessment. Or if you get pupils sat in groups assessing their own work, one another's work, be it in tests, for tests, or for written work, then the advantage of that is all pupils can be involved. They use pupil language and start to talk the language of the subject, start to talk that language. They are more honest and challenging with one another than with their teacher, sometimes too challenging perhaps. Seeing your work through the eyes of your peers helps you to be more objective. Teachers can spot where they might best spend their time. See groups talking, you go around just listening to them and pick out the ones which are in real trouble on some topic or one bit of written work they've done which you really can't sort out what's good or bad about it, and so on. The snag is pupils need to be trained to work effectively in groups, because a lot of work where pupils' working groups are being studied by people listening in, it shows that they don't do that well. Some pupils see it as a competition. They've got to prove that who's right. Others won't take part. They don't want to be in that competition. They're not confident. They keep quiet, and so on. And that training, there are models for that training by Neil Mercer, is one of the most successful professor was at the Open University, now at Cambridge. And he had rules which he used in training pupils who are aged 9 or 10 near the top of primary schools in England. And these rules of the training were all students must contribute, no one member says too much or too little, every contribution treated with respect, you've got to listen thoughtfully to one another, groups must achieve consensus, work at resolving differences, and every suggestion or assertion has to be justified, arguments must include reasons. And he worked at that with a group of groups in schools, and as a result of that work, comparing the dialogue within those groups before and after the training, those reasoning words, because, think, should, would, came up 3 times more frequently after the training than they did before. And one part of the training was that last one. One person in each group, you have a group of 4 or 5, one pupil is the challenger. He has to make sure nobody makes an assertion or a contradiction without giving a reason to go with it. And that was the result. He also showed, he was doing it in science, that in subsequent science tests, pupils so trained did better than comparable pupils who were not trained. But if you go to industry and business and ask what they value in pupils, one of the ones they always come up with is ability to work in groups constructively. If they're wanting to compete with one another, that doesn't work. This is fundamentally valued. After each end of term test, the classes group now to learn from each other. The researcher has interviewed them on this experience. They're very positive about the effects. Some of their comments show that they are starting to value the learning process more highly, and they appreciate the fact that misunderstandings are given time to be resolved either in groups or by me. They feel that the pressure to succeed in tests is being replaced by the need to understand the work that has been covered, and the test is just an assessment along the way of what needs more work and what seems to be fine. Now, this is shifting both the teacher's view and the pupil's view of tests, because what he's looking at is a summative test teachers will set at the end of a topic. And that has a learning value because it's a review, shows what you need to do, and shows which bits are okay and which bits have gone through too quickly. And here pupils are being involved actively in that review. So the summative is beginning to be seen as part of the learning through the involvement of pupils and not as the nasty bit on the end.